variety of reasons you might choose to stretch your hip flexors, the muscles at the front of the thigh. Maybe you sit all day from work and you're just feeling a lot of tension there. Or maybe that's starting to pull on your low back. Maybe you're an athlete, either you play soccer or you're a cyclist or a runner. My name is Dr. Robin Armstrong and I'm a chiropractor at Willowbrook Chiropractic in Langley. And today I'm going to take a deep dive on the stretches that you can do for the group of muscles that we refer to as the hip flexors. So these muscles are the quadriceps and the iliopsoas. So the quadriceps is the front of the thigh and they make up the tendon of the kneecap. So it's actually a group of 4 muscles. 3 of them primarily act on the knee, so they just do a kicking motion. But the 4th one is actually the one that crosses the hip and helps flex or bring that knee up, the hip up. The other one is the iliopsoas. So it's actually made up of 2 muscles. So the iliacus muscle just sits inside the pelvis here, but also attaches to the hip. And the psoas muscle blends into that. So the psoas actually attaches into our spine, blends into that iliacus muscle, and attaches to the hip. So because it attaches to the spine and the hip, it has actions at both of those joints. So sometimes when we're sitting all day, the psoas tightens and it can actually crunch the low back. So how you might know if you need to stretch your psoas muscle or your quadricep muscle, if you get that pinchy low back feeling, if you get pinching in the front of the thigh when you're sitting, or if you're feeling like a general tightness and stiffness in the front of the thigh. So let me show you a few. So the most basic one is a quadricep stretch. And we can do that by either grasping the foot with our hand, or if you have a strap or a belt, you can pull on it, or you can use a chair. So we bend the knee, we're bringing that heel towards the buttock, we're making sure that thigh is in line with the other thigh and we're nice and tall, and we're tucking the pelvis under so we can feel an opening through the front of the hip. We would hold that stretch for at least 30 seconds, and you do it on both sides, even if you only feel the tension on one side. To go a little bit deeper, if we want to involve the hip joint and get that 4th rectus femoris part of the quadricep muscle, we can come onto all 4s. Again, either using your strap or your hand, or I will use a chair here. We put the foot up on the chair. We step the other foot around so we're in a lunge, come up, so we're high lunge, and I can feel it right away. So now I'm in a lunge, I'm opening up the hip, and we have the bending of the knee. So again, you could use a strap or your hand to be in this position, but you want to make sure you're not pinching in the back, the hips are square, and again, we're tucking the tailbone under. So now we're getting all of the quadricep muscles, all 4, not just the 3 when we're standing. To get into the psoas more, we would go into a lunge. So we would step 1 foot forward, take the knee back behind you so there's an angle to the thigh, and start with a high lunge first. So you can stay here, just letting the hips sink forward a little bit, or you can add the upper arm. So this upper arm is going to stretch open the upper fibers of the psoas. So you'd lean back a little bit and maybe lean away to the opposite side, lengthening everything through the pelvis and the psoas. You would hold that for 30 seconds, again, doing both sides. If you want to go deeper, you can go either 2 directions. So you can go lower with your hands, letting the pelvis sink towards the floor a little bit, maybe untucking the toes, maybe even bringing elbows down to the floor, letting that hip melt towards the earth. Or you can kind of go the opposite direction. So you can stay high, but extend the back leg. So we're not bending the back knee, but we're elongating all the structures down the back leg. So I would press back through the back heel while tucking the pelvis under. You could raise the arm overhead again. It's a little bit of a different feeling than when we had our knee down on the floor. So you can see you have lots of options to stretch the muscles at the front of the hip. But if you're finding that's not giving you the relief that you need, either in the hip or the low back, it might be time to come see us. You can book online at willowbrookchiropractic.com. We post regular content on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram under Willowbrook Chiropractic. If you have any questions about what I've talked about here today, please feel free to ask myself, Dr. Robin Armstrong, or Dr. Jody Freedman. We're always happy to help.